This is a big draw. We could do them real slow so they scoop. Be like an is it player. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You could, though, if you really wanted to. Hello, good game. Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're all having a magical day. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. Deck Diggler is in the house. This is a Golgari black and green graveyard recursion deck, or a reanimator deck if you're one of the hip kids. We'll be bringing back some creatures from the grave that have a massive impact within the game, getting them out ahead of curve, which is always very exciting, as well as the impact will be magnified at this point in the game. We're going to break down the deck list, talk about the strategies, the synergies held within, showcase all of these within the gameplay footage, and then finally wrap up with our final thoughts and just general deck review, where we want to take it into the future and talk about the channel, stuff like this, right? So welcome, buckle up. If this is your first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on great content like this in the future. If you're a returning user, thank you again for your time. I really do appreciate it. Slash that thumbs up button to death, and let's take a look at the deck. Alrighty, Deck Diggler is not only one of the greatest deck names I think I've ever had, and it even suits the deck because we're digging through our deck, but it's powerful, right? This is a magnum-sized deck. We have Dig Up, which is really important in the build, Cleave for 4, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Or, if you're cleaving it for the additional mana, you just get to search your library for any card, you don't reveal it, and then you shuffle, which is really cool beans, right? So in this specific scenario, we're just looking for land. The more land we have in our hand, the better. And if we need to search for something specific, we can do that too a little later on. We are getting a bunch of land in our hand through Dig Up. We also have Witherbloom command. For 2 at sorcery speed, we can choose 2. Target player mills 3 cards, then you return a land card from your graveyard to your hand. We can destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. All of the classes or enchantments can be taken away with this, which is really nice. And then target creature gets -3, -1 until the end of turn. Target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So more times than not, we're always looking to mill ourselves and then bring a land back into our hand because that helps our curve, right? We're not missing our land drops. And then we're also putting some of the creatures that we want to bring back into play in the graveyard, right? One swoop, we get 2 birds with 1 stone. We also have the field trip for 3 at sorcerer speed, searching our library for a basic 4s card, putting that card into the battlefield tapped, then shuffling. We'll be able to learn. The learn is able to grab a card from the sideboard. However, we can use this opportunity to discard something from our hand to draw a card, right? Discarding the creatures, drawing another land to play, and drawing one of our graveyard recursion spells. We have Old Rustine in the build, 3 mana, 1/4 legendary creature, and when it enters the battlefield or at the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. Great news, right? That really sets in with the other synergies well. If it's a land card, create a treasure, helping us ramp. That's amazing. If it's a creature card, create a 1/1 green insect creature token, a nice chump blocker that helps us get to those later turns. And then if a non-creature, non-land card was milled this way, create a blood token. We can pay 1 to sack the blood token, discarding a card from our hand to draw a card. This is an additional way to discard the creatures into the graveyard and draw, hopefully, a recursion or reanimator spell. We have a single copy of Nissa of the Shadow Bows for 4 mana, 4 loyalty with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Nissa. Very cool beans. +1, untap target land you control. You may have it become a 3/3 elemental creature token with haste and menace until the end of turn. It is still a land. -5, you may put a creature card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control into the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Holy Toledos, that's absolutely amazing, right? So this is one of our ways we can play creatures from the graveyard. We have Return Upon the Tide for 5 mana, Foretell for 4 mana. A little bit of a cost reduction there. At sorcery speed, returning target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's not an elf, so don't worry about the token. But a nice quick way to, on turn 4, grab one of our creatures back into hand. We also have Diregraph Rebirth at 5 at sorcery speed, costing 1 less to cast for each creature that died this turn. We are rarely taking advantage of this. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield and flashback for 7, which is nice that we can recast it, because if we accidentally mill it, we'll still retain access to it, which is really nice through the flashback cost. We have, a little bit of field control here through Shadow's Verdict for 5, 3 copies of this. Sorcery speed, exiling all creatures and planeswalkers with mana value 3 or less from the battlefield, and exiling, 3 or less creatures and planeswalkers from the graveyard as well, which is really nice. Renin 7 is a key component in this build, not for the reasons that you think. For 5 mana, 5 loyalty counters, +1, reveal top 4 cards of your library, put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That's what we're looking for. That's the good stuff, you know what I mean? Getting the lands in hand, which we'll reveal why in just a moment, is great, but getting those creatures into the graveyard is really what we're looking for here. We can also now begin to discuss some of the creatures that we'll be replaying from the graveyard in the deck here. The first off, Burning Ruin Demon for 6, a 6/6 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for exactly 2 cards not named Burning Ruin Demon that have different names. If you do, reveal those cards, and an opponent may choose one of them, put that card into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. This is great because we'll gain access to one, and we'll also have access to the other because it's in our grave, and we want cards to be in our grave. So typically, we're grabbing something like the Diregraph's Rebirth, because even if they put it into the grave, we retain access to it, and then we can grab any of our creatures that we want alongside the Rebirth, right? Because the Rebirth's either going into your hand to cast on that creature, bring it out, or it goes into the graveyard to grab a creature later through the flashback, right? So the Burning Ruin Demon will grab the Rebirth and another creature. We also have Vorinclex Monstrous Raider on the side as a single copied 6/6 trample haste. If one or more counters would be put on you or a permanent you control, double down, and then half those for your opponent, which is really cool. So the loyalty counters through the creatures will be doubled, +1 counters, emblems, I guess, as well. But stuff like that is always a lot of fun. Then we finally have our last single creature in the deck, Foxrill the Corrosive for 7/7/7, and at the beginning of each end step, your end step and your opponent's end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control with slime counters on them will get -1/-1 for each counter. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token, and then we can pay 2 to sacrifice a slug. And drawing a card, we do have treasures in the deck through Runstein that can help us do this if we want. And then the meat and potatoes, what you guys have been waiting for, the Cultivator Colossus. Holy Toledos. For 7 mana with Trample, its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands that we control, and when it enters the battlefield, you may put a land card from your hand into the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat the process. Woo! You can put like 10, 15 lands into play with this. So coming back now to Renin 7, that plus ability to draw a bunch of lands in your hand is really important before playing the Colossus, because now we're going to have 3. We're going to have 4 lands in our hand. Colossus in play from the graveyard, hopefully for 4, potentially for 5. And then it's like boom, land in play, draw, boom, land in play, draw, boom, land in play, draw. And you'll be drawing lands throughout that process as well, flooding the field. And then it's like, you get one turn. I've got a 13 or something in play. And then it's my turn again with all of that untapped land. Look out, right? So really fun and exciting deck in those terms. We have land consistency through the Glade and the Pathway. Creature lands through Lair of the Hydra, which can get massive. A win condition in and itself, because we'll have so many lands in play. And then Hive of the Eye Tyrant, just to control our opponent's graveyard, to make sure that they're not trying to do this on us. That's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, this is 60 card standard best of 1 with a 4.1 average mana value. We have 26 creatures to our 10 non-creatures with 24 land for consistency's sake. Cheers, enjoy the gameplay footage, don't forget to like the video, and we'll be back to wrap up after these sick matches. Going first is great. Is it turns? Mono black control. How will you surprise us today, opponent? Let's grab a secondary black source, and then this pathway can go either way. We have a verdict, which is alright. Layer in. That's going to be our 4th land, which is nice. We need to discard the demon. They're ramping, and it's probably a life gain deck. Which means Shadow Verdict is ultra effective. Beyond super effective. Playing slow. That's good for us. 4 available mana. Did they play a 4-drop? That would be sad. Another Innkeeper. Why not? Why not? Play a Righteous Valkyrie too. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. A Lunarch Veteran. We'll get him next turn, right? The exile on the veteran's great. And they don't get to replay it. We get hit for 1 here, down to 19. Are you kidding me? They deserve to get Shadow Verdict. Holy. Wow. We get a 4-drop? No. You ain't getting shit. Indestructible won't matter if they get it. Check this guy out. Man, you're insane. You're absolutely bonkers. Luckily, we don't die this turn. Almost. Getting hit for 11. Hey, couldn't we, block one of these Innkeepers, prevent 1 damage? That's pretty big brain play. I know. The Master's at work. Big block. It's gonna change the course of the game for sure. Didn't see that coming, did ya? Here comes the scoop. Lord have mercy. That does not feel good. Our Rangers class is great. We're low enough on live, right? Let's just make a tree. We need the land really bad, but we'll draw it, we'll draw it, we'll draw it. And we can block whatever, because we'll probably Shadow's Verdict again. And the token dies, so whatever. That seems like a strange play. Ooh. That doesn't. Let's just go for it. This doesn't get Shadow's Verdict, which is nice. We take the Cultivator and Troxel. Yeah. And then we have Rebirth to bring 1 back. It's a hard decision. Well, I mean, guess not that hard. Alrighty. We just grab a land, I guess. Ensure that we have 4. Right? We can take another forest. That's fine. Now we just need to discard this Colossus. As it turns, this should be fun. Egg in play. No play on 3. Aggressive, egg to 2. So I imagine this is a counterspell. Should have played more black sources. You fool. Let's just keep the land coming. Renin 7 can go out and plus, maybe. I don't know. It probably just gets countered. Let's try a field trip to discard. And take Confront the Past. Because we can hardcast the Cultivator. Right, the game's gone on long enough that we're not saving any turns at this point. Just go for it. And then they'll counter it, and we can recast it from the grave through the Rebirth, rather than just having the Rebirth countered. Right? This just gets countered. Wow, that's insane. Do we get to repeat the process? I don't think so. It just triggers once, right? Or maybe we do. We do. That's great. Getting some lands into play. It's a little bit. It's a decent head start. We're up to 13. Another iteration. That flips the dragon. We get hit for 4. We can still verdict it. We can hit them for 11 if they tap out. We should probably kill it because they're just going to start taking double turns, and we can't have that with it in play. And we also can't have that with all the Storm Giants in play. Interesting. Let's try to take the dragon. I'm sure they were going to counter Nissa. They didn't. Or not Nissa. Renin 7. They're bouncing the verdict or Ren? Dang. Okay. We should have waited and played that after. And then we would have got the token. But then they might have bounced that. It's really hard to say. We do get a blocker, though. I was trying to pull the counter spell, and then have the verdict be uncountered. So, I mean, we kind of did accomplish what we set out to do, but in a weird way. This is brutal. We'll just immediately make the token. Stop the dragon. It probably just gets Fading Hoped, but whatever.
The entire forest is an army.
And I'm just gonna play another right on top. Make another token just in case they do deal with it.
Do not underestimate the forest because
Then we have 3 mana. We're just chilling.
they prepare for war.
Dragon's Fire on Ren and 7. That's okay.
Failure burns within us.
No attacks. We could discard the Cultivator to draw. Down to 34. Good game, is it, player? Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty cool draw hand. Thanks. Thanks, Shuffler. Keeping 6, tossing a field trip. Having the Verdict in hand is nice. Just like a little bit of an insurance policy. Because why would you play anything other than mono white? Oh, maybe you play as it turns. You could do that. So can we even get to 5? Getting hit for 5 here is a minimum. 6. That's great. Down to 12. Get rid of Vorinclex, draw another Rebirth. Getting hit for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 is a minimum. 9. Down to 3. Sorry, 10. Down to 2. Barely survive. We have 2 life left. If they had a creature land, we would have been dead. We can gain life with command. Ouch. Are you kidding me? Good for them. Grab some more life, stay alive a little bit longer. Now we can play for 7, which is ridiculous. They have multiple creatures, which is also ridiculous. If they have a Cathar, I'll cry.
From root to canopy, the trees are mighty.
Haven's good. Skyclave can't take anything, but it's a creature. Really? But then they just have lethal, right? Yeah, we're just dead. Maybe a Troxel to the grave.
We can foster much growth here.
At the beginning of each end step. Maybe. And then we'll go down to 1. Unless they have a Sky, like a Luminarch or something. Anything will get us dead, but we should survive here, down to 1. They'll lose the land as well, which is great. They could have removal. It could be a Fateful Absence for the win. Oh my gosh, that's so clutch. Going first is pretty cool. The hand actually looks alright. We just need a recursion spell. We can find it with Field Trip. Yeah. Tap the land in first. We don't have any 1-drops available here. This can be... well, maybe it should be a green source. Nah, it can be a black source. These are both green. This finds a forest as well for our 3rd. Painter. I'm gonna use Old Runstein first. Because it could ramp as well. And it is every turn. Boom! Just like that. That's a treasure. We can use that. I like it. We pull a land. That puts us right to 5. And it's dead. And it's gone. And for 2. Okay, Shadow's Verdict is pretty good. Hopefully they don't play a 4-drop. I guarantee you they do. Dragon Town! Three cards in their hand. Graveyard Trespasser. We can take that. Oh, but they take our Colossus. Nice. You dog. We must punish your transgressions. Don't want to use that treasure. We have 2 of them, which is great. Another. Another! Stop it. Let's stop the 4/4. We clean up the field. If creature lands in play still. We're sitting on 4 or 5 available mana. Gassed. I think we just go for it. Even though it's only a 4/4, it's still pretty good.
Of the woods is made manifest.
And then if she survives, she can plus, which is great. But we have to get that initial value. That's alright. Hopefully we mill something cool here. We do.
Find safe.
This is good to go. We get that Colossus. They actually even took one from us, so we're lucky to even get one. No land. No attacks. We protect Ren in 7, because she can plus again. Good game. Going first is great. Hand looks nice. Really nice hand. Let's see if we can hunt down another aggro deck. Come on! Typically, I expect these things in the play queue. You never... What's going on? This is Mythic. I mean... God willing, we are only at 90%, but... Come on! Okay, we're playing. Beautiful. Paladin class. We're not really playing during their turn, though, so that's fine. We don't care about the taxation whatsoever. We already have the field wipe if they're playing with creatures, so let's just... Land. We grab swamps here. Field trip auto grabs for us, so we don't really need that. Spirit's great, whatever. No 3-drop. No 4-drop. Oh gosh. I would like to Klex before we verdict. Like, I would... Like, if we can Ren and plus instead of minus, that would be maybe ideal. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Faceless Haven's the most threatening thing. We kill Paladin's class. We grab a land. Just looking for a recursion spell. We have Verdict. Scared of the Faceless Haven. Mono White's a good deck. Well, I gotta, you know, give them props for really taking the time to consider all of the playlines. Acting with a level head. Something that I wish I could do, but I can't. Don't have the patience, man! Surprised they didn't cast the monk first. Oh, so are they. Doesn't matter. They're still laying down a serious beatdown here. Oh, we're down to 7. They're gonna hit for another 4. Yikes. Yikes. Down to 3. Ooh. So. The rebirth is great. Hopefully there's no Cathar.
The trees are mighty.
We have the block on the lands. Practically begging for it. Let's see if we mill Cultivator.
Rich soil grows mighty forests.
Maybe we can get a scoop here. I'm pretty sure we're just dead, though. This is a big draw. We could do them real slow so they scoop. Be like an is it player. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You could, though, if you really wanted to. I think we decline this and slay their paladin class and then gain life. Just maybe a little bit of a buffer zone. Okay, can we get another Shadow's Verdict?
The entire
3/3's
forest
healthy.
is an army.
Vorinclex, then Renin 7. She's at 10, right? She's at 10.
Those who harm
We could return all these to our hand.
destroy
No maximum hand
gifts
size.
nature grows.
But I honestly think I'm just making another blocker.
Trees
I'm
can
nervous! No attacks. We're gonna chill out. We're gonna chill out here. Yes! My lord! Getting pretty lucky today. That's ridiculous. Alrighty, Deck Diggler strikes again. Dig Up is a very beautiful card. I think that we will begin to see this in almost every Golgari deck, especially mid-range and control Golgari decks. And then, you know, it's probably going to be played in Abzan. It's probably going to be played in Jund. You know, any of those 3-color decks, Sultai as well, that are touching green and black. And that third color can be whatever. Dig Up. Really impressed because it can grab you the land for consistency's sake. It can also grab you that field wipe for consistency's sake because aggro decks are everywhere, right? And then if you don't have to do one of those crucial things, oh, why not set up with a Reanimator spell? Why not set up, you know, with a Planeswalker and just get general value this way as well? So Dig Up, definitely the star of the show. The Cultivator Colossus putting out too much value and finally finding another use for Renin 7 other than the Tree Folk token, which is still good, don't get me wrong, but just grabbing all of those lands really goes great with the Colossus. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. What do you think of the deck? How would you change it? What would you add? What's your favorite creature to reanimate right now? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like the video on your way out, and if you're not yet subscribed, don't miss out on more content just like this. Take care, have a magical day, and we'll see you soon in the next.